What's up, guys? Dargogan here. Welcome back to another video on the list of the top 5 things, basically. Now, I haven't been uploading or doing any streams on this channel for quite some time, or nearly 2 weeks, because, well, I've been having some connection issues, and I wasn't able to have the chance to be able to actually make anything. But here we are. My connection is slightly better, so hopefully this is actually the best footage I'm able to do. But in this video, I was gonna say stream, I'm gonna be talking about the top 4 best melee weapons from the entire melee selection. So these are the 4 that I think that are the personal better ones than all the other ones. So don't be surprised by number 4 because it's one of the best. Coming into the number 4 spot is the ham. Now, the ham is more or less just a standard melee damage weapon, but it has a certain ability that makes it shine. Its damage is 40 per hit, so you can already see that. Attack speed 0.9, and its ability is to heal. And what it does is every time you press the heal button, you heal 100 health per bite. But there's a catch. You can only use this 3 times, and then it turns into a pretty useless melee weapon that you will never use again. Now, you may be saying, why is this maybe the last one? Well, it's because, well, it's more or less just a Robux weapon that can actually help you to basically have more of a chance to live longer, if that makes sense. Okay, that sounded pretty strange, but this is more, think more of this as like a medkit thing, not as like a melee damaging zombie thing. This could have been higher up on the list if it did just a tiny bit more damage, but that would have been too overpowered. But for now, the ham is doing what it's most likely to do, heal you. And the fact that not really many people use this thing just makes it more like a medkit, more of not like a katana or something like that. This weapon is not mainly good for the damage, but it's mainly good for the health you get from it. So keep in mind, it's one of the best melee weapons, not one of like the 4th worst, basically. So in all reality, this is more or less a weapon that is more or less good in healing, if that makes sense. Coming into the number 3 spot on the list of the top 4 best melee weapons is the machete. Now, I know what you're going to say. Why are you putting the machete at number 3 when you clearly said in the last video, or the last, top 5 video, that it was basically the best? Well, that's because of its ability just being quite nerfed, basically. So, before we get there, its damage for this machete is 40, attack speed 0.7, and its ability is to cut yourself free from the Tingler's tongue ability. That's it. Now, you may be saying, well, that sounds really OP, kind of like a hunter one, even though that doesn't exist. But the thing was, back then, it was only a second, okay? It only took a second for you to be untangled from the Tingler's ability. But now it feels like it's more or less like 3 to 4 seconds that you can actually be untangled from the tangler. Now, the reason I'm putting it on number 4 spot instead of like number 2 or number 1, it's because there's so much time for your fellow allies to be able to basically shoot the tangler for you, making this useless. So you're basically just gonna have a knife instead. But the other option was that let's say you're in a solo match, you're the only survivor, and you're being chased by all the zombies, and you have the machete, and then you get tangled, and you're just like, thank God I have this. The longer you take to cut yourself free, the more damage you take from the zombies, until eventually you're frozen, on fire, being destroyed by the goddamn banshees, shurikens, whatever they're called, knives, and basically being pummeled to death by the Juggernaut like a WWE wrestler, and more or less you're gonna have 10 HP by that time. Back then the machete was good because it only took a second for you to be free, but now it takes you 3 seconds, and in that time, you will be basically super low, and also the fact that, you will be super low on HP, and you're basically just gonna be dying in any few seconds. But yes, it does do its job on doing the damage, and also the fact that it also does, of course, cut yourself free from the Tangler Zone ability. That's nice. But because of the time it takes now, it's not really that useful, but it is still a pretty good weapon if you're going solo mode. because, well, if you're not good at juking or like basically spinning around, what's it called, to avoid the Tangler's attacks, then you should get the Machete until you can actually master that ability. But for now, it's at number 3. Coming into the number 2 spot on the list of the top 4 best melee weapons is the Katana. Now, you know what you guys are saying. This is pretty obvious because the Katana is basically a one-hit kill to most zombies. Well, you're right about that, but unfortunately it has no ability, which I think is actually a good thing because this would be super overpowered. Its damage is 150 and attack speed is 0.65, so you can see many people using this thing and spamming it like crazy. Now, I have nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but more or less, it's a very overpowered weapon depending how you use it. If you're good at basically juking the Tangler's tangled ability, then this weapon is basically meant for you, because if there's any zombies getting near you, you could just one-shot them. Riot, I think it's like a 2 to 3 shot, and Breno it's like a 4 shot or like 3 shot. Francisco's like a 2 shot, and so on and so forward. This weapon is basically made to what it's supposed to be, an absolute zombie killing machine. This weapon can do so many things, but not really much as well, if that makes sense. It can be used to basically, what's it called, cut all the zombies, and when you're frozen, like, you know, when you come unfrozen, you can just cut them all up. It could be used to basically get them off of you, so you can actually use your RPG. It can basically be used as a weapon to protect yourself when you run out of ammo, or when you're trying to go get some ammo. This weapon is, more accurately, one of the best, melee weapons because of its damage and basic very powerfulness, if that makes sense. Now, it does cost quite a bit of Robux, like 150 or something like that, but once you get used to this thing, it becomes very, very reliable. But the problem I have with it is that, well, it's kind of expensive, and also the fact that it's pretty annoying to use, but yeah. Coming into the number 1 best melee weapon in the history of Left 4 Survival is the sledgehammer. This weapon is so powerful, I'm surprised nobody's using it. Its damage is 125, 25 less approximately, from the Katana, but also its attack speed is 1.6, but that doesn't matter because its ability is so powerful that it's even better than all the other weapons in the game. Probably not from the rake, but it's still really powerful. Basically, what this ability is you swing your hammer up into the air and slam it to the ground as hard as you can, and you could basically stun any zombies within like a 7-meter radius back like a mile. And apparently applies the stun effect, but it actually doesn't, so hopefully that gets fixed. But this weapon's ability and damage can do so much more than all the other weapons in the game. Number 1, of course, you can kill basically every single zombie with just a few hits, just like the Katana. Number 2, the ability you are able to basically do can basically save you from being a solo dude when there's a bunch of zombies around you. You can basically use the ability to basically get them off of you and get to like a better place than you originally were. Number 2 is that if there's ever a chance where you're frozen, you have the hammer available, you can basically use it to get the zombies off of you as soon as you're unfrozen. So you can basically get them off of you and laser them as fast as you can so they can no longer screw you over. And number 3 is that if there's ever a chance when a friend is either hunted or tangled, you can go right up to them where there's a group of zombies around them, eating them alive, and use the hammer ability so you can push all the zombies away from the hunter or tangler and actually kill the hunter or tangler so you can actually save your friend. And also the other thing was that if you're ever like on a building or somewhere up high or something like that, you can actually use this ability to push the zombies off of you and off into the ground or to the starting area, so they have to work their way up to get to you, and that's the chance you can actually use to reload and basically heal up and do whatever else. This weapon is so powerful, I'm surprised nobody's using it. And the fact that everyone can use it because it only costs 375 gold is ridiculous to me. This weapon is so strong and so deadly with its damage and ability that you can do so much with it. I'm surprised nobody's using it. And the fact that it's basically, I believe, the best melee weapon in the game is just unbelievable. What's up, guys? Gugan here, and you made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It just makes my day. And I'm sorry I haven't been posting for nearly 2 weeks because of connection issues and me being a lazy bastard. But hopefully it gets better in the future. And yeah, I'll see you all in 5 years and support this game.